Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Tristan Walter.
And today we're talking about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It's happening. We're talking about the original trilogy, Tristan.
Did everyone leave? Are we alone?
Yeah.
I think they left.
Yeah, no,
Matt.
I think they left. I think everyone was just like, oh, well, if they didn't leave for fucking the Christmas special, the holiday special, I don't know.
That is fair.
I don't know what else would cause you to leave at this point, I think.
Although I can feel the hatred. I don't know where, but it's just
I can
everywhere.
feel it flow through you.
Exactly. Exactly. I was hoping you would get that one.
Of course, that's the easiest one. But anyway, so we're only talking about this movie. We're not talking about the prequels as a whole yet. And we're recording this in advance. So, you know, in case anyone's just, if there's any, like, I don't know what other news would be out about the prequels, right? But I feel like there's always something that's just like, oh, did you hear about this? We recorded this in advance. But yes, so how do you feel about this movie, Tristan?
Well, I'm one of the very rare people that doesn't hate it.
You know, it's interesting. I don't hear a lot of hate for Episode 1. I think it's actually, as the trilogy goes on, people either don't like it or people don't hate Episode 3 that much. Yeah, I've heard some people actually talk, not fondly, but not rage-filled, I think.
About Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Huh.
But
I always thought the majority of the hate was on Phantom Menace, but
I hear a lot more hate on Episode 2.
Oh, Attack of the Clones? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all right. I mean, I won't condone the huge amount of hate and rage, but in my opinion, out of the 3 prequel films, I felt like Attack of the Clones was the weakest for me too. Yeah. That doesn't mean I hated it though. I didn't hate it.
So you don't?
I didn't hate any of them. No,
really?
I don't
That's
hate any of them.
So is it because you grew up with them? Do you think that might be what it is? Because you're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I could understand why people would think that, like, because I saw it when it first came out as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly how old I was, but I went and saw it with my dad when Episode 1 came out, and I remember how excited I was as a child. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of other people held that excitement and apparently got let down, but I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, this film did have its fair share of problems.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm not saying it was, like, amazing, but I wouldn't say it was terrible either. I
could say it's terrible. I won't say I don't. I won't say I hate it to death, but I think I'll change your mind in the sense that I'm not saying you won't like it, but you're gonna be. I think by the end of this podcast, at least I hope, you'll be in a nice.
Maybe I'm gonna change your mind.
No. Because here's the funny thing, right? I'm not gonna say you can't like it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say you can like something that's terrible.
You can like it. It's fine. It's still shit, but you can like it if you want.
Not shit. Just terrible. There's actually a difference. One thing I do want to say, just starting off, I actually enjoyed, so I love world building, right? And here we're talking about the opening crawl. I love world building. And it's not like these movies should never have people talking, right?
Yeah.
But I'm happy that for once the opening crawl mentioned things that I consider boring, like people talking about trade routes, instead of how cool the first 3 opening crawls sounded in Episodes 4, 5, and 6. Remember that? We were doing those podcasts. And I would look at the opening crawls and I'd think, wow, can I see that movie?
Yeah, that was that was cool. Can we see more of that?
Instead of reading it, but I see the Episode 1 opening crawl and I was like, wow, this is perfect. I don't want to see any of this.
It's kind of funny.
I want to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel funny hearing that because not that I would want to see like a scene of them bickering about it in the Senate. What I would have liked to have seen which has probably either been done through books or through other things. What really got me for like setting up the world was how the Emperor, well, he's not the Emperor, how Palpatine, I spoiled it. If you haven't seen it, sorry.
How dare you?
Senator Palpatine's Emperor Palpatine, go figure.
Yeah, right? What?
But
I thought that might have been his son. He's
yeah,
so
I
young.
thought it was a different... Dude, it's the same Palpatine! But what I wanted to say was I would have liked to see how him and Newt Gunray actually got to... Like, how he convinced them to, do this whole blockade thing. Because it kind of just... It comes into view and, like, yeah, Naboo's in deep shit. Well, okay. That seemed rather abrupt. How did that happen?
There was actually, one of the most abrupt things in this film. I don't know if it felt abrupt to you, and I was a little upset by it. When the first Darth Maul fight, it was literally just a cut from him going, I know where they are, to, and here I am. And I was like, wow, that cut was way too fucking abrupt. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't usually sit here and try and talk about cuts as if I'm a filmmaker, but it was just really weird. I just sat there and I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it was just, yes, I found the boy. And here I am in front of the boy. I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
It's like, what are we doing here? Like, it was so quick and abrupt. And then I was like, guys. So, yeah, I do think that a decent amount might have been cut even.
Yeah.
Like, we could have had a 3-hour episode 1.
I don't know if it's a deleted scene, although I don't think it is. There is a scene where you see him release some of the I guess they're not like Imperial probe droids, but they're still the same idea. It's a scout droid that looks around Mos Eisley for them.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Yeah. So it's like he does find out where they are before they're like immediately out in the wasteland, like, oh, I found them, they're right in front of me, not like that.
No, the thing is, I'm cool with the robot just being like, oh, we've scanned the area and we found them. That's cool. I'm just talking about when he sped off, it was literally like 5 seconds before they cut to, quick,
right, when Anakin's running, wait, Qui-Gon, I'm tired. Anakin, duck. What? Shit.
That's what I'm saying. That was so fast,
okay.
And I was like, what the flying fuck are we doing here? Like, why was this edited this way?
I guess.
But let's talk about some of the negatives. Let's do something different, right? Let's talk about some of the, as if like no one has ever talked about the negatives for the film. Let's do something different. No, you know what it is? I think that a lot of people were expecting some great things from episode 1.
Yeah, that's one thing I would like to point out just right off the bat.
Okay.
The amount of hype that this movie had to live up to, I highly doubt. I mean, I highly doubt anything could have lived up to that amount of standard.
I disagree. I think that if we would have had an Anakin Skywalker that was older, an older Obi-Wan, and they were either training together or fighting together, specifically in a Clone War, right? A cool, like, I feel like we could have had, if it would have started off completely action-packed, over-the-top nuts, I think a lot of people would have been really hyped. What we had, though, is a very slow movie that I was only at my maximum hype with Darth Maul's fight at the end. Now, I didn't hate this movie entirely, but I was not hyped. Pod racing did not hype me.
I mean, it hyped me, so...
It was cute. I'm not going to say that I dislike pod racing, but pod racing did not make me go, oh, fucking shit, yeah. Right? That was Darth Maul's fight. I'm sorry. No, I was watching Darth Maul's fight, and I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Okay. All right.
Was not that kind of hyped. But I do think that we could have had...
I mean, my take with the pod racing was it's kind of... I don't know. It was nice for me in the sense that it wasn't a battle, but it was still like... It still had a lot of energy, and it was still kind of intense. It's like, okay, yes, you know that Anakin's not going to die. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to die in this pod race. He has to slaughter younglings in the entire galaxy first before he does that.
You know, and that's the thing, too, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's another thing, too, I think. When you have flashbacks, right? If we had a bit of this movie as a flashback while Vader was dying in Episode 6, you can take that. You can take mini flashbacks. If they had these flashbacks in Episode 6, let's say whenever Vader looks out, right, and then they flash back to something from episode, like, you can take that as like, oh, wow, you're getting to know this character, and then his fight with, like, Luke would be the saddest thing in the world because you know bits of his life and you know what it took to get here. The problem when it's done in a movie format, especially, you know that eventually he's going to grow up to be Space Hitler, and it's really hard for you, it's really fucking hard for you to sit there and be, and think, aw, Anakin doesn't get to see his mom anymore. Fuck you. You're going to kill a lot of people that we love. Like, no, it's really hard to connect.
Okay.
And I think that's another
point,
problem.
Yeah.
It's very hard to have as much as, because you want to, like, yes, you want to know. That's why I think showing him already as a Jedi, I think is a better start, I would argue, because I think it would show him fighting, and at least you can connect with him on, like, a badass level, rather than trying to go, look at the sweet little kid, and it's like he's not a sweet little kid. Now, again, yes, at one point he was. No. And it's good, because, yes, he's multi-layered. He's not just a complete, he's not just evil. I'm not saying start him off as evil.
He was a person.
Yes, I'm not saying start him off as evil. I'm just saying you could have started him off a bit older, and not, because the idea of being sweet and innocent, especially for that long, it's a bit hard to connect because you know that one day he will not be. Some of the lines can be fun, like fun little insiders. But in terms of just like, it's really hard to connect in a way. Because even though it's just, well, you're not supposed to love him. You can't really love him. Like it could be like, oh no, his mom is dead. And this, oh no. And you're just like, I'm sorry, but he's going to be an asshole one day. Like, okay, I don't know, like if you make a biopic on a young Hitler, right, you can watch it, right? Or a young, like evil, like a person who becomes, something terrible, you can watch it, but it's going to be hard for you to be like, man, like I feel like I connect with Hitler now. Like I get, like, no.
That's actually kind of funny. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know if I can actually tell you because I'm not sure if you're current with who. There's an interesting parallel to something that Doctor Who just did recently too. That's kind of like that.
I'm caught up, but I don't want to spoil. Let's not spoil. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off the show. But
in a way, connecting to a younger version of a very bad person in the future. At that moment, you're still looking at an innocent kid. He hasn't done all the terrible things that he's going to do. Do you kill him to stop him from doing it? Or, can you shoot a child? That kind of question, which never really comes up in Star Wars, obviously, but, that kind of idea. It's like...
No. Well, you can't... Well,
Anakin was a child at one point,
too,
you
can't kill Anakin, because if you did, it's not like he was the only... you have to kill Palpatine.
Yeah.
Because as you saw, there were others before Vader.
Right, that's true too.
Yeah, which by the way, love Darth Maul's design.
Yeah.
He had a lot of other designs before his final one. Loved his basically his just demon, his Oni design. Loved it. Really sad that that's all we saw of him. Although I do believe in other material, animated or otherwise, we do get more of Darth Maul.
Yes. Yeah, Clone Wars actually brings Maul in too, which is interesting.
Yeah. That would make me want to watch Clone Wars. Not as if I didn't want to already, but I need more Darth Maul in my life. As a kid, I felt like I was robbed. Yeah,
that is one thing I is a shame that he really didn't get to do more. I mean, he got a pretty, probably not from a, okay. It hit me hard when he killed Qui-Gon. I really like Qui-Gon's character, and so did my dad too. When we saw it, he was like, "They killed off my favorite character, really." I'm like, "I'm sorry, Dad."
I'll say, no, that's no. That's funny. I can see that being your dad's favorite character. Qui-Gon. Yeah, I will admit, Qui-Gon is the only death I think that you could have been like, oh wait, really? This early in the series? Like, you knew he was gonna have to die eventually, because all of them have to fucking die eventually. That's what I'm saying. You kind of know which ones are gonna live, which ones are gonna die. So there is a little bit of suspense that's gone. At least for something like Doctor Who, they can. Because I think Doctor Who is another show that you might sit there and think, oh, but none of them are going to really die because, the Doctor is the main character that always lives. Exactly. The Doctor could, in theory, die at any point and just switch to another actor if they hit it well enough.
And, that's still a death, too, he is a different person each time he technically regenerates or dies.
Yeah, technically, yes. So, but here you really know, like, it's just like, oh no, what's going to happen to young Anakin in space? Nothing will happen to young Anakin in space.
I think at that point, well, yeah, okay, nothing. Well, see, that's the thing. No one actually knew how Anakin went from, Tatooine boy to
so you're
Space
saying that
Hitler.
In theory. Okay, so you're saying that at that point, everyone was on the edge of the seat, like, is this what his space could get burned off? Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now?
Well, yeah,
it's happen now.
I mean, not that his
Bring
space
your face
wouldn't
off
get...
now, child.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's a point where something terrible happened to this child to turn him into what happened to him later on.
Right. So then do you think, it sounds horrible, but I'm being completely honest, if he had been messed up as a child, do you think it would have been a bit, there could have been possibly, let's say, Sith training in the second one, and it would have been a lot cooler maybe? We would have seen him more on the dark side. Things would have been a bit maybe different, maybe better?
It's odd, because I know for a fact there are a lot of other different mediums, like comics, books, shorts, whatever you want to call it, or even animated series, not even Clone Wars, other, I don't know, maybe, well, there was another animated Clone Wars series, but anyway, there are other mediums that show stories of Anakin growing up, like you said, like him training with Obi-Wan, and I'm sure they have hints here and there that, I mean, even like Anakin says when he's older, I'm not the Jedi I'm supposed to be,
Yeah.
And I've heard even a lot of people, it's supposed to be pointing out the whole problem with the Jedi code being so rigid and so strict on what you can and cannot do or how you should be, that the idea that people can't fit into that rigid, spot.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it's funny watching the movie again. Qui-Gon's actually a little shadier than I remember him being. Shadier in the sense of he'll use a mind trick to just be like, all right, let's smooth this over and let's get moving. Because I'm not actually sure if he did it or not, but it looked like when he was talking to Boss Nass, the leader of the Gungans, I could have sworn I saw him wave his hand a little bit, just under his jacket. It's like, we could use a speeder, and then he says, we're going to speed you away. And he's like, that's fine, let's do that. And I'm like, oh, you did a thing there, didn't you?
Yeah.
But it's funny, because that actually kind of makes sense, because I know it's mentioned at some point, but I believe Count Dooku, before he left the Jedi Order, he was Qui-Gon's master, and he learned from Yoda too.
Oh wow, he did. You're correct.
Yeah. So that's
he moved
even
his two fingers twice.
Right.
I don't know if that's him just moving his fingers or if that's him just being like, no.
Yeah.
You'll give us this. That's funny.
But so not everybody's perfect in that sense, and that's. I mean, Anakin has not to say that I condone Anakin's actions later on. No, that was definitely not the right thing to do. You should not be killing children. But
yeah, right. No Order 66. But
the fact that maybe it wasn't all of the evil happening around him that was forcing him into losing, losing his way or losing his mind.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that more later.
But yeah,
the
that's
point
the
is
later thing too.
Yeah. In this movie, I just think that it was a shitstorm of bad decisions. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Not that it's a horrifying ordeal or anything going through this movie. I don't think it was a horrifying ordeal anyway. Maybe an ordeal, not horrifying. But I do feel like it was just a shitstorm of bad decisions, where it's just an Anakin this young may not have been the best choice, right? Jar Jar Binks not completely being a horrible choice, actually. Because I understand you want to make the kids laugh. You want to give them a comic relief character. Jar Jar Binks is a good comic relief character for the kids. The problem is, and mind you, I love comic relief characters, right? I laugh really hard, at some of the stuff that, let's say, Krillin does in Dragon Ball Z when they make him comic relief. Even though it is Krillin, I get it, right? It is funny. But it seems like there was just too much of Jar Jar Binks. It's not because he's annoying, because he's Jar Jar Binks. That's not why.
I guess.
There was just too much Jar Jar Binks.
I mean,
it felt what?
I mean, I'm basically the bane of all evil in the universe because I was one of those kids that actually. I guess it's funny. I guess for the kids, it was like Anakin was the one you were supposed to connect with. I connected with Jar Jar as a kid.
I know.
Not to say that I was
funny.
like the clumsy, doofus or anything like
really?
that.
Because I understand. I'd connect with him over that. I'm a fuck up. But the thing is that I just feel like the issue is that here's the issue. The issue is just that there was just too much of it, right? Just too much of just him tripping over himself. They went to it too much. They did it way too much. That's what I'm saying. It was a lot. It was a lot of Jar Jar Binks. We could have cut some scenes out, and I assure you, it's not like the kids would have sat there crying.
Yeah.
Either crying that we want more Jar Jar or crying that, this movie is so sad. It's just look.
Right.
All right, just take out some fucking Jar Jar.
I can take that, I guess.
Yeah.
The main reason I connected with Jar Jar so much was that he was such... okay. I mean, I guess this will sound weird no matter how I say it, but he was such an outcast. Even his own people didn't, let him live in the same city. It's and I don't know. This goes a little, deeper, but I felt like that as a kid too. People in my own age group, I was never really, Mr. Popular either, but for whatever various stupid reasons. But
I don't know you when you were a kid. I didn't know you when you were a kid.
Well, that's true too.
I didn't. You were not an annoying fuck. That's the thing. Jar Jar Binks is an annoying asshole. That's the problem. I can assume that you were not Jar Jar Binks. I can assume that you were not Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Also, I will admit, his language, and I talked to you about this before the podcast.
Right.
A lot of people were thinking that Jar Jar Binks at the time was a racist stereotype. Now, George Lucas was not going for that. There were people who made this movie that were not going for that. So maybe he isn't, right? But still, his vernacular, the way he speaks, they may have been trying to go for a country bumpkin because we actually had Qui-Gon saying, "Oh, he's a local," right? So I think they were trying to go for Gala J. Right?
Which is actually really funny.
No,
because,
if they were going for that, it makes sense.
I say that. Let me clarify why I say that.
Okay.
The point you're trying to make.
Country bumpkin.
He's kind of an outlier in that respect because if you look at the Gungans, later in the movie, a lot of them are warriors.
Yeah.
They're a warrior people. You don't ever really get to see them. I mean, you see some of it in the battle with the battle droids, but they were really just a diversion, so they really didn't fight that much, I suppose. But, the Gungans are badass. Seriously.
Yes. These guys
know how to fight.
So him being a country bumpkin living in the forest, right?
Right.
Well, Tarnations, right? I think that voice would have worked out better rather than Misa Misa because it sounds like he sounds a little bit like the WB Frog, if anyone knows what I'm saying. Just the idea of just, hello, my baby, hello, my honey. And it's really, it brings up a lot of blackface. It brings up a lot of bad vibes, you know, a lot of bad stuff. And, you know, you can disagree with it. You can say, oh, I don't really see that, and that's cool. But, and again, George Lucas apparently, you know, is on record saying he did not want to do that, right? That's not what he was going for. You and I are assuming it's the Southern thing. It's just because of the phrase, oh, he's a local here. For some reason, it makes me sound like one of the, you know, oh, yeah, he's one of the locals, right? Kind of like the, you know, the Southern, like, small city vibe, you know, the small town vibe. So that's what you and I are assuming. That's what, I mean, what I'm assuming. That's what I'm assuming.
That would kind of offend any other people on a similar level, too, though, wouldn't it? So, like, it's kind of like you offend anyone no matter what.
Here's, you know, either way it's offensive, yes. But I will say that offending people over, you know, in small towns is a bit different than offending, you know, people over, you know, like blackface type.
Right.
You know, if you don't, because I mean, if you don't know, you know, back in the day, I mean, the reason why they had blackface is because they wouldn't allow African American performers in certain venues, so they had white people putting on black makeup, pretending to be these, and then and then having bigger lips as if that meant that they would look more like, and it was, you know, and then doing certain verbal tics. That's really what it is mostly, just verbal, because of course you can't, you know, looking at Jar Jar Binks, you don't think that's a black person, right? Not by looking at it, obviously, but it's the idea, although some people say that
the way he
was a bit Jamaican. Yeah, the way he speaks. Right, and also some people were saying Jamaican even because of some of his, like, the way he acts and speaks, and also, so I think the way, like, it looked like he had hair in certain ways, like, but anyway, there was just, like, different people saying, oh, is he meant to be? And again, on record, Lucas says no, right? But still, it was a little bit of a controversy when it happened, and I think looking at him, it was just like, oh, like, why would you? So, you know, because again, you could have made his speech patterns a lot different, right? Where, you know, talking about a show that made a funny, cute character with weird speech patterns, Geki Ranger, right, which in America became Power Rangers Jungle Fury, right? The way they wrote him in Japanese, they wrote him more like a Tarzan boy, because this main character, because he lived in the forest. So they wrote him in a way where he spoke in onomatopoeia.
Right.
So let's say there was fire, he'd say, oh, crackly, crackly, or something, right? So he spoke in onomatopoeia because he didn't know how to speak good Japanese. So if Jar Jar Binks, like, was broken down in that way, more like a Tarzan kind of way, I think maybe we can just go, oh, like, you know, he doesn't know how to speak well. You know, he's lived in the forest. But no, he speaks like the rest of them speak, although, you know, the other ones in his race are very much, you know, like, deeper voiced, you know, like, because they're battle ready. But because he's a comic relief, he's like, oh, and it just kind of gives off this very much just like, you know, just a comedic black person slapstick comedy. Like, it gives off a bad vibe, you know, to some people at first. But anyway, that wasn't the problem, though. The problem was, like, you know, because again, we don't know, you know, according to Lucas, it wasn't meant to be that. The problem was the comedy, the actual just comedy not being that funny, I think, because of how much it was used.
Yeah.
Because of how much it was used, where it was just like, oh, this is too much Jar Jar. And also, something that I think you agreed with when I mentioned it to you over the phone, George Lucas managed to make the universe feel pretty small. Because the universe, you know, it's a huge Star Wars universe. There's a lot to go on. And he really made everything, quote-unquote, fit very well in this area, where it's just, oh, and Padme, you know, is doing this. Oh, and, you know, here is, you know, Qui-Gon with Obi-Wan, and then, bam, Anakin's right here, right? Oh, and by the way, C-3PO, bam, Anakin. Oh, they already found R2-D2.
Right.
Just everything is so falling into place that the Star Wars universe feels like it's only a few, a few worlds. A few planets.
Yeah. Originally, like a few years ago, I felt the same way. That was something I really didn't like about the film. And I guess, yeah, it does make sense. The original trilogy, while focusing on its main story of its main heroes that are going throughout the galaxy, it doesn't put them in a way that the rest of the galaxy is following in suit. Because I think it flashes from, the situation that's going on Naboo straight back to, Coruscant, which is basically, would be like the Washington, D.C. for the United States of, the galaxy. It's the capital of the galaxy, and it's kind of like you're trying to make the scale of the entire galaxy go on at this one place at this one time, when really it's a whole bunch of different planets. And there are even people, like you see in other series, there are people that have no idea what's going on,
Yes.
There were even some people that weren't, like, even later with the Clone Wars. It's like, there are people that are like, yeah, there's a war going on. I'm not a part of it, though. People that would feel like that.
It's weird to think about it. And it's weird to think about it that way, because, like, wait, how are you not a part of it? Well, the universe is that huge.
It's a very big place.
Prequels, yeah. But when you look at the prequels, it seems, at least in this one, it seems very, very small. Now, I will admit, it is nice to see that Anakin is on the same planet that Luke was. But also another thing, too, is, and we're not talking about 2 and 3 yet, but just about 1, introducing some of these characters also brings up some things, where you sit there and you go, wait a minute. But C-3PO and R2-D2, like, they're here. They're alive right now.
Right.
They're alive later, too.
Yeah, I guess it was because, you could introduce them so early because they're droids, so they're technically, it's not like they have a lifespan that they're going to outlive, but...
Oh, no, not lifespan.
In regards to them, I can agree with you on that. Like, they could have introduced them in 2.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine, because then, Anakin's piloting around in the war with R2, and it's like, yeah, he spent a lot of time with R2. He was his astromech for a long time.
Yeah.
And 3PO, 3PO, you could have left 3PO out until the original trilogy, and, he was a protocol droid with Leia,
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, it's, although I will admit, it does make Anakin look like he's, he is very, very, I guess, intelligent, very smart.
Yeah, that he's built.
Yeah.
Right.
That he builds these. One thing I want to mention, so apparently there was a chance we were going to have a young Greedo's backstory.
Really?
Which is why, did you notice that little tiny green alien?
Right, the Rhodian.
That could have ended up being,
Greedo. That would be,
Again, yes, let's...
Okay.
We're going to see Space Hitler. Let's also check out the kid that we know is going to be gunned down. Like, what are we doing? So, that's that's the problem. Trying to see too many cool things come together.
Yeah, there is actually something funny I forgot to mention about Jar Jar's character. Now,
oh, God.
I don't know if you've heard of it, and I really don't know how much of it's don't know how much of it's fan speculation. I really think it is just fan speculation, but
I know what you're gonna do.
You know what I'm gonna do.
Just fucking say it already.
That Jar Jar is really the Phantom Menace.
Misa, Sith Lord.
I'm sorry. If that actually happened, I feel like people would have liked his character better, because no one would have ever expected that. Ever. You know
what I think it was, too? I think it's because, again, of some stuff that happens later that we're not talking about right now, but, some bad stuff that he does later, and then he messes up later. It would have made sense if he was evil.
Yeah. Because he did play into Palpatine's hands later on, but... Yeah.
So, but he isn't.
No. I feel like he was just doing what he thought needed to be done, what was right at that time. And honestly, he kind of was. Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well,
you would,
he
yes.
is the brightest tool in the shed. The sharpest.
I don't know.
Wow,
I feel like Jar Jar's a lot
maybe I'm not the
brighter
sharpest tool in the shed.
I feel like Jar Jar's smarter than people give him credit for. He's just clumsy a lot, you know?
Smarter than the average gun.
Oh, God.
Hey, boo-boo. Hey, Anakin. No, but, yeah, okay. So one thing I want to mention, right, that I think, you and I talked about through text. We were talking about, this starting, also another issue is starting off the age, just immediately showing the age difference between Anakin and Padme.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now, first off, no, because here's the thing. There's nothing wrong, I think, with having an age difference when you're older. No. It is just a little bit awkward, though, watching it in movie format, just knowing, like, you two are going to have a kid one day.
Yeah,
and,
you two are getting together one day. This is a bit awkward.
It is a little awkward. Now, it's not awkward on either side in the sense that we shouldn't sit here and go, yeah, it's so awkward for Padme or it's so awkward for Anakin. So, no. Just in general, there's a little weird. Now, I know Anakin goes off the train, so it makes sense. It's just, again,
in 2 and 3,
Anakin in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, in 2 and 3, that age difference is still there, but they're both adults at that point. So it's like, no, it really doesn't matter. It's when, your 9-year-old self and your 14-year-old self are talking to each other.
Wasn't it older than that, or is it only a 5-year gap?
No, it's I'm not 100% sure, but Padme might have been 16, but I think she's 14. I know Anakin's 9. I know that for a fact.
Okay. Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, it's a thing where it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, we didn't have to, that's why I think that, you could have easily not had a lot happen. Like, I feel like you could have just either had them older already or just cut out maybe Anakin. I know it sounds crazy. Like, what? Cut out Darth Vader? It's not Darth Vader yet.
Well,
and I
feel like they had to have that bit where they found him as a child because most Jedi, even the Council says to Qui-Gon when he brings him forward, he says, no, we don't argue with you that he's very strong in the Force. We get that. But he's already learned the evils of the world. He's too old.
Well, no. I don't mean that. No, it's true. I understand that. I mean, when I say older already, I mean older and Jedi already.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I do think that it feels like time wasted. Some of this movie can feel like wasted time. For some that might not care about this exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't care about it because, okay.
I feel like 2 did that more.
Well, because I think, it's funny, I think 2, I would argue, built upon 1 in the sense that, 1 feels like, all right, this might be considered wasted time, but let's wait till the next one. And then when the next one comes out, there's going to be episode 1, 2, 3, the third. And then when you see 2, you're like, come on, get to the penultimate, like, is he going to be Vader yet? And then it's just like, oh, great, now we have to wait till 3.
Right.
Like, I feel like 2 is building up on those feelings of just get us to Vader shit.
I feel like 2... Look. I feel like 2 could have done a little bit more with, like you had said earlier, with Anakin and Obi-Wan, seeing Anakin, like, training. Like, maybe a little bit younger and kind of, like, before the actual clone... Because 2 and 3 is basically 2, the Clone War begins. 3, the Clone War ends. And then you have the animated series, which does an amazing job of telling that story, by the way. I know I keep bolstering that series, but it's totally worth it. Yeah,
I hear amazing things about it.
3 was like the climax of the war. It's like, okay, that deserves its own movie. 2 just kind of felt like, the Clone War started, but that's about it. I mean, they focused on Anakin and Padme, their relationship getting deeper, and honestly, okay, yes, that's needed in a sense, but I feel like they could have shown a little bit more.
That's another thing too.
Anakin as a Jedi.
We're not, we're not there yet, but that's another thing too. Like, I think,
right.
people know that it's coming, so it's hard really to sit there and be like, man, I want to see that, unfold.
Yeah.
But anyway, one thing I think other people may have disliked, I know that I did at least, so I'll say that much. Obi-Wan's hairstyle. Look, I get it. We all had strange hairstyles when we were younger. But man.
Really? I mean, what's wrong with it? It's just like shortcut. I don't know.
Into a rat tail.
Oh, you mean the braid?
Yeah.
Or you mean the small little tiny ponytail he had in the back?
Both.
Because he has, okay, the braid is supposed to be a Jedi thing. That's a Padawan's braid. All Padawan have that, no matter who they are. That's not just Obi-Wan.
Okay. So, it's the ponytail.
Because even Anakin gets one, too, if you notice. At the end of the movie, he has one.
Oh, I didn't notice. It's the ponytail, then. It's the weird-ass ponytail.
I mean, I guess I paid attention enough to be able to tell you that, but I didn't really notice that his hairstyle was so odd.
It looks weird to me, man.
Okay.
It looks weird to me, man.
I mean, compared to Qui-Gon Jinn, who has a full beard, mustache, and long hair, yeah, I suppose it does. But
I love his hair, man. He looks great. He looks fabulous.
Well, I mean,
I love this dude.
Liam Neeson, come on.
Hell yeah, man. By the way, so the battle droids, the droids talked, and I was like, oh.
Yes.
So I feel like some people said, oh, God, and these droids talk. I would have rather had more of them than Jar Jar. If you cut some of Jar Jar out and have them just, like, talking in there, I don't know why. Like, whenever they spoke, I was just like, please sing. You sound so synthesized. It's amazing. Please sing.
Well, it's actually kind of funny. That's probably one thing you wouldn't like about the animated series of Clone Wars, because the droids basically become comic relief in that series, like the battle droids.
I'm cool with that. That's what I'm saying. I'd have more of that rather than Jar Jar.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, right? By the way, okay. So here's what I did enjoy. A lot of the aliens seem to have a mix of a lot of different accents. I don't know if you noticed that, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like the aliens that were being evil. They had a lot of mixes of accents, and it was really cool because they were.
I think they're Nubian.
Yes.
I think is their race, something like that, or their species.
It was. Really
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Also, something I was definitely confused about: Jar Jar Binks and his people fucking live in Atlantis. Like, why are they in the lost city of Atlantis?
That's so beautiful. Like, when I first saw that movie as a kid and I saw them swimming up to Otoganga, I was like, I want to live here. Dad, can I have an underwater bubble? Can I live in an underwater bubble? Like, I didn't want a treehouse. I wanted an underwater bubble.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, why?
I mean, they're semi-aquatic. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. R2, by the way, still being the sassiest motherfucker in this motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I laughed so hard. It was just like, beep, beep, beep. I was like, yeah, it's you. Yeah, that's you.
What do you mean, naked? Oh, my parts are showing.
Basically, yeah. But anyway, so,
talking shit to 3PO, even when he just met him.
I know. I was just like, wow, you're an ass. I love R2, but I was like, you're an asshole.
I wonder like, that would be an interesting question. Who the hell built R2?
An asshole.
To give him such an attitude.
Palpatine.
Oh, that would be, wow.
R2 was an apprentice.
Ooh. Do I hear fan fiction?
You want to hear some? Oh, man.
R2-D2 is the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so, I feel as if, like, again, this movie was not horrible to me. It was just, it's just a flurry of bad, it's funny. How do I censor the whole shitstorm? A flurry. It was a flurry of bad choices. That, to me, I don't hate the movie, but I was not hyped through it. I was like, oh, this is cute. Oh, this is nice. and then right up until the end. The end was the only time I was actually interested in anything, and it was the fight with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like, truly interested, like, really engaged.
Yeah. That duel is probably one of my favorites. I might even say, not the best duel, because I still think Luke versus Vader on Bespin was probably the best duel. But as in a good fight, you know, I'd probably say like second or third. I love that fight. It's got just enough action in it, as in the prequel movies. Like, I like Revenge of the Sith duel with Obi-Wan and Anakin. It was cool, but it was a bit over the top at some points. Like, it blew everything else out of proportion. Which is not like it was a little too much, but it was flashy and it was fun, so whatever. But it was just enough, like, it was convincing enough, it was flashy enough, but not unrealistic, you know? For me, anyway.
I loved it because I think it was just, you know, the idea of, let's bring something different. So we bring the dual lightsaber. Because look, it's back in the olden times, but in a way, in a certain way, the olden times aren't like, oh, technology sucks. Technology is actually better. It should be better, right? Technology has not advanced because they just, you know, because everything is eventually destroyed, right? And we don't have lightsabers with the Force, you know, like the Force is technically still around us because it's fucking mitochondria. We'll talk about that in a fucking second. But but the idea is that like we technically should have better technology because there are more, you know, civilizations around, and it's not like completely under the Empire's rule with like no Jedi left.
Yeah.
So having the dual lightsabers was pretty cool.
It's kind of
funny
and
because
then just
have what?
So, well, I mean, technological advancement. I mean, it's supposed to be better in the original because, I mean, shit, they built a Death Star, but like you're saying, like lightsaber wise, and I mean, even with or you see a lot with the Rebellion, they're basically using, you know, scraps and whatever they can come by. Even the Y-wings, the bombers that they have, there's a lot of they make reference in the Clone Wars series. Those are old, disserviced Clone Wars ships. Like, they just stripped the armor off them. That's why they look all wiry and broken down, because they're, you know, junkers. But the Alliance is using whatever it can. You know, the Empire has got the real, you know, technological
the Empire has the resources.
Shit.
That's true. They have the resources. But the point is that, like, you know, the whole, like, dual lightsaber thing isn't a thing for an obvious reason. You know?
Right.
But still, the idea of just, like, Darth Maul being good enough, also the fact that he was good enough, he seemed like such a huge, like, I think, you know what it was, too? It's the way that Darth Maul was disposed of. Now, his death was cool, sliced in half.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like we can't show the actual slice, but we can show him becoming two once it's far down enough. I thought that was pretty cool. But the idea of just,
I love his facial expression, too. Like,
it was just like,
oh, that's going to sting in the morning. Oh, fuck.
It was such an interesting thing to have happen. But the way it happened, I think, was just, you know, a little frustrating because you see how, like, yes, you can say, oh, his hubris got the best of him. But still, it feels as if, you know, he was just doing so well because he's that strong and he's that adept and he's kicking ass. And then
there's
just
no
for a
doubt
split second,
Maul, there's no doubt that Maul was powerful. I mean, he took on both. I mean, Qui-Gon was a master. He took on a master and still technically an apprentice. But Obi-Wan was a knight at that point. I mean, his skill level was there. It was just defeating Maul was what gave him the knighthood. But it's like he was already there. So he took on a knight and a master at the same time and held his own, too. And honestly, I feel like if he was taking them both on for the same amount of time that he just fought alone with Qui-Gon, because that is a long duel, too. Like,
that's what
I know there are a lot of cuts, but like if you've ever, like even with like if you've ever practiced any form of sword or martial arts, that is a long fight. Like,
yeah, it
just
was
a
great.
few minutes in a fight, you will be exhausted. They went for, that was at least the last 15 minutes, half hour of the movie. Like, granted, honestly, the fight didn't take 30 minutes probably. It was probably closer to 10. But still, fighting for that long really takes it out of you. And I get the feeling that's the only reason he really took out Qui-Gon, because, granted, like, I even used to talk to this about my dad, too. He's like, well, I mean, I don't like to admit it, but the thing is, you know, Qui-Gon's an older, you know, he's older. He's not as agile as he once was. He's still a master. Mm-hmm. He's still a master swordsman, but sometimes the young ones are quicker, and that's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Maul got lucky, and he got him.
You know, Maul killing him, I assumed that because he can take on both of them. It was nothing wrong with taking on Qui-Gon. My problem was just that, you know, you had Obi-Wan look over at the lightsaber so much, I thought they were setting it up for Maul going, I see your plan. No, he just didn't see his fucking plan. I was like, are you fucking serious? The man's looking over like if it was in any other movie and it was, let's say, a gun, the guy would notice, like, wait a minute, the gun is over there. And then we both lunge for it. No, it was just,
that's true.
I'm looking over there a lot. Like, you're looking at your doom. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, supposed to be like, what is he looking at? You know,
I mean, just the reason I'm actually, like, I get exactly what you're saying, and I can agree on a level that that's true. Like, he should have realized, like, oh, right, you're going for the other lightsaber that your master dropped. Right. But at the same time, it's like, that's the downfall of the Sith. Like, I'm not going to lie, Maul was really powerful, and he had Obi-Wan right where he wanted him. He should have just done it. That's the problem. The Sith are too overconfident. So was Maul. He didn't think, oh, you know what? I mean, okay, you could think of it both ways. Maul probably knew that's what he was trying to do. Like, oh, you're going to try and jump up and grab that. You're not going to do it. Oh, shit, you did it.
Exactly.
Like, I just don't think that he looked at him and said, you don't have the power to do that. Not while I'm standing right over you. I'll cut you in half before you can do it.
And then he did. And then he did.
Exactly, and then he did.
Yeah. And that's the movie. I mean, anything else you want to say? We're not completely done yet. Anything else you want to say before I rant on again?
I mean, about the fight itself or anything else?
No, anything about the movie overall before because I'm thinking of some stuff. If there's anything I want to say before we end.
Okay, there is one scene that actually really gets me. Like, I can't in my defense say, you know, what the heck. It even makes me go, what the fuck, guys? You completely fucked that up. And I'm not sure if you caught it. It was later on when Padme is assaulting, trying to get to the throne room to get Newt Gunray, you know, to capture him and stop the war, or stop the battle. And they're coming down the hallway, and they have him. But then the destroyer droids come up, the ones with the personal shields, and captures them and says, all right, you know, put your weapons down. They win this round. And they capture them. So they bring them to the throne room, and the Viceroy is like, oh, you know, I've captured you now. You know, now I'll make you sign the treaty. I win. Ha, ha, ha. Mm-hmm. There's one problem with that. Where are the destroyer droids? He sent them away. He must have. He's only got the battle droids around him in the throne room. Mm-hmm. And then the Queen's double comes in and saves them. And he goes, oh, this one's decoy, go after her. Whereas it's the decoy that actually just came in. Padme's right there.
Yes.
I guess, again, he's overconfident and he thought he had them, but it's like, you know, if you have people coming after you, like they were your trump card, why would you send them away? That's the only thing keeping you safe right now. That's the only reason they surrendered to you in the first place, is because those damn things came out. If you don't have them, or if you send them away, what's stopping them from taking the guns back and getting you?
That's the problem. The overconfidence can happen with one person, but apparently the entire universe is overconfident.
Well, I mean, you know.
No, like, overconfidence can take one person, but it ends up taking a lot of them. A lot.
Yeah, I guess.
So, like, I mean, well, that's I mean, that's kind of what it is. Again, like, it's like, why did he send him away? Overconfidence again. Overconfidence, the highest killer. Yeah, I mean,
like, that's
I'm
the
trying to
only
think of anything,
scene that I actually looked up and I was like, no, I'm mad. Why did you do this?
Oh, one thing I want to mention too. We mentioned Jar Jar Binks before. Another reason I think too, some people may have jumped and thought that it was, racist, is because for most of the movie, that was the only representation of an African American character that we had until we had Mace Windu. Now we did have one of Padme's guards.
Yes, and he was introduced for. Oh no, wait, he wasn't introduced first. Okay, but but Captain Tanaka, he was
small.
in there too.
His role was very small, though. So once I think we had Mace Windu, it was just, oh, okay, this is, and the fact that he was, I think once, because mind you too, I didn't even, I was commenting to you about Jar Jar Binks before even finishing the film. So when we saw Mace Windu, I thought, okay, good, we needed this bad.
And they did have the pilots, the Naboo starfighter pilots. They were a bit more mixed.
Yes.
Too.
Which is good because again, it's very strange that we have a universe of just it's in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and there's all these different types of aliens, but just a lot of white people, and then one lone Lando Calrissian. So I think it's good that they kind of made everything somewhat mixed, somewhat.
Right.
But yeah. So, another thing too I want to mention, because right next to Mace Windu was, of course, Yoda.
Yes.
This is the start of it all.
Right.
The start of what?
Yoda talking.
The Yoda talk.
Speech.
The Yoda speak. Right. Basic, as it's called. That was not prevalent in the original trilogy. Again, we've talked about this on the original trilogy podcasts that we did. It's there, but it's very, very small, right? The way it's done.
Not every sentence.
No, it's not every sentence. And it's so interesting because, again, you would think that in old age, you revert back to the original way you spoke. You don't speak it better in your prime because this is your language.
Yeah.
So it's so weird that, that's, I think, a reason why a decent amount of people dislike the prequels. It's the little things, and some people might say, oh, they're just little things. But they add up in a way where it's like when you're making 6 movies, you should have a Bible in front of you. A Bible being like a ability to look through this book and go, okay, this was done this way, this was done that way. Let's not mess this up. Let's not mess that up. But it feels as if a lot of things came up on the fly. Like when George Lucas made Star Wars, it does not seem as if he made Episode 4 with Episode 1 in mind. Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, because he didn't, or at least as far as I know, he didn't.
It seems like he didn't. Yes. Now I know that they did want to name Episode 4 like Episode 3 or 4, so they knew that they were going to be earlier prequels. But it feels as if he didn't make Episode 4 with Episode 1 in mind, and not everyone does, right? And I know that and it's true. But the fact that this is mostly a Lucas project, 1, 2, and 3 are Lucas exclusive projects. You would hope and you would think that everything would really line up correctly and not necessarily, I don't know. I mean, look, this was not a horrible film. I wouldn't give this film a 1 out of 5 or anything, or a 1 out of 10. But it's not. It didn't blow me out of the water either. I didn't sit here going,
out of the water.
No. And this didn't make me. And again, yes, you are correct. With all the hype that was surrounding this, it was very hard to live up to that. Which I think, I'll give it to you. It probably made it look worse.
Right.
But it's not. Even if there was no hype, it's not as if without the hype you're going, yeah, the Phantom Menace, man. I feel like, do you feel that way? Because I know the original trilogy, I can get you to just be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
just.
Yeah.
If we were going to have, if you came up to me and said, dude, we're going to hang out today, we're going to watch Star Wars, which would you rather watch, the original trilogy or the prequels? I'd probably go, yeah, let's watch the originals.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's died out. Maybe it's not as. Maybe it's just looking too much into what is posted on the internet. Seeing all the hatred for it, but and maybe it's not all hatred either. But I don't know. Like between
no. I get you.
The characters and Anakin and I don't know. Like you said, it's true. It's a lot of little things that start to stack up, and I can understand that. And I understand, like, there are flaws to it. There are flaws to the originals, too. There's flaws, it's a story told. There's always going to be flaws in everything, we do. We're flawed as people. So, like, I get that. I'm not the type of person that's going to take this and be like, this is the epitome of filmmaking everywhere. Everyone should love this and watch it, and, this is, you can't, argue against it. Like, if people say they don't particularly like something about it, I'm not like, oh, no, you can't not like that. It's because this, and this. It's like, no, I'm not that type of person. I think I pretty much demonstrated that right here. Like, any skepticism you had, I'm like, yeah, that's, I can see that. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So
but
you hate it just good. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I guess I just don't see as many of the problems people had with it.
No, I understand. I can't say that I hate this thing with all of my hate.
Right.
But I, and I will admit, I did stay away from it more because, okay, personal story time. I did see this in theaters when I was younger. My mom actually took me to see this in theaters. Now, I don't remember a lot of it. Though I will admit, watching this, there was a little bit of nostalgia, so I think it was somewhere in the back of my head, just, me, like, but at the same time, there's a reason why.
It's also, it's also like when you see it as a kid, too, you're not thinking as in-depthly about it as we are now, too. Like, I remember watching this as a kid and being like, the parts with the Senate, I'm like, I kind of dozed out a bit, or I'm like, I don't know who's talking right now because it's not, they're not holding a lightsaber or a blaster or they're, interesting looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually don't remember a lot of it from when I was younger, and I haven't gone back to the movies until now. The only movie I've gone back to more than once, I think, was Episode 3. But I have not gone back to this movie. I'm doing it for the podcast because I just thought, well, we're doing Star Wars Wednesday. We're starting back up for the new year.
Gonna have to bite the bullet.
we're recording.
You know what?
It's funny. We're recording this in advance, but I know that these are coming in the new year. So yeah. So that's just what it is. So I don't hate it. All right, that's all you can get out of me. I'm not gonna say I love it. I'm gonna say I liked parts of it. I liked parts of it.
With that.
Yeah. But I do think that I'll say this much though, and I hope you agree. If we had nuked this movie, I don't think we would have lost a lot. What I mean by that is, I don't mean erasing this movie from existence and having nothing. I mean taking a different point in Anakin's life and focusing on it. Like, I do think we could have gotten a better movie.
I mean, honestly, I feel that way more about 2.
Okay.
I feel like this one, seeing Anakin here and now was still fairly important enough to actually have it be the first movie.
Okay. All right, I'll give that to you. Well, we're at the end of our show. We would like to thank you all for listening in. And, I'm going to talk about some of the social media stuff that we have going on. Before I do, though, I want to mention our main website.
You're not going to do the wall scroll?
You're just cutting me off. I thought you were cutting me off like an Oscar speech. You were just like,
geez,
play the music.
No.
Play the music.
No. I meant just like listing all the different social media sites and different, all the other different things that we work with. Just doing the wall scroll.
No, and here's why. We are on YouTube, right? So you can look at our podcasts on YouTube by searching up Those Guys on the Radio or TGOTR. But they're not video podcasts. You have to listen.
Right.
So you could see the scroll on YouTube maybe if I thought it would be fun to make it. But you wouldn't be able to see it if you got us through iTunes by searching up Those Guys on the Radio on iTunes.
Yeah.
Right? Nor if you went to our website, thoseguysontheneradio.tumblr.com, you wouldn't be able to see the scroll there, or through our Facebook, which is /Those Guys on the Radio, our Twitter @Those Guys Radio, or our Instagram, / those guys on the radio. Also, Tristan, you cannot stop me from promoting us and transitioning things into promotion. Nor can you stop Tristan or I from playing those guys, from using those guys play, which is actually our YouTube channel, our Let's Play channel, where you and I have played Star Wars Battlefront and many more games on our Those Guys Play Season 1, which we are, we're finishing up. We have finished up, and Season 2 will be on the way in February.
Yay!
Yay! Which I need to get you either over here or I need to go over there to film more. Something has to happen.
By the way.
I need you to film. Work for me. Anyway, so... Yeah, we have, like I said, we have our websites. We also have merchandise as well. If you look up those, cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise, you can get a lot of T-shirts from us and more. You can even get, Those Guys Play T-shirts as well, as well as a lot of other funny T-shirts related to Star Wars and some other things as well. And, since we have the time, we've done a lot of different shows. I mean, you and I, Tristan, we've done Dragon Ball Super, which we should be starting up again soon.
Wink, wink.
Also, you and I... What? Yeah, wink, wink. Yeah. Also, you and I have done, speaking of Dragon Ball, speaking of anime in general, I mean, you and I have done Dragon Ball Z movies, Dragon Ball movies, movies and OVAs as well. We've also done Bleach movies and OVAs. And, a lot of other anime coming in the future as well. Wink, wink. So, it's gonna be, a fun new year.
Yay! Look forward to it. Look forward to it.
You all have a good night, and oh, you just reminded me in the weirdest way possible. Did you think Darth Maul's voice was a bit too light? I thought it would be a lot deeper. I'm not even kidding. I actually thought that as a kid. I was like, why does his voice sound like this? It should be a lot deeper, like Darth Maul. But he sounded very much, very light. What did you feel about his voice?
I guess, that might have something to do coming from, Darth Vader going to, another Darth.
It might be
going
that.
To Darth Maul.
No, but not even like deep like Vader. I think deep like Yami Yugi, I was thinking. Like Darth Maul.
I guess, maybe. But he
was speaking, and I was like, oh, you sound more like a Bond, like a Daniel Craig lighter Bond.
I feel like it's odd. It's difficult to describe. Like it would have to be more of. He sounds more like. I don't know. I'd have to show you like in Clone Wars how he talks because he has this very like withdrawn voice, and then when he gets angry, it really just like.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't.
All right, I'll believe you.
I can't describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll believe you.
I thought that too as a kid. Like his voice is a little higher than I thought it would be. Yes, but like it works.
Darth Maul. It works. Yes, it does.
It works though. Yeah.
Also, we didn't talk about any edits from from the movie to DVD because we don't care. We really don't. I just want to let everyone know that we don't care.
I can't really think of as many.
There were. Well, there were.
I know
some.
there were, but
there were even some from from the theater to DVD that unless someone somehow has a cam rip from 1999, we'll never see.
Right.
We'll never notice the difference.
There was a glitch, you would say.
Yeah. They did, it's funny. Video game logic, would be a glitch, but it was it was a graphical error. Error in CGI that they fixed that we'll never know. We heard of it, right? It's on the internet, but I don't think unless someone has a cam rip from 1999.
Right, you're never going to see that.
You're never going to see it. Yeah. But anywho, so that's the only thing I can think of. Like everything else, I don't have a list in front of me. I really don't care about. We're not going to talk that much really about differences in little edits between, prequel CGI because we don't care. Yoda was more of a puppet before Blu-ray came in. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
That's it.
The only thing that I can think of is there's extended scenes within the pod race itself, which actually kind of actually shows off Anakin, as like Qui-Gon says, he alludes to, his reflexes are much faster than a normal boy's would be, his age or his, species, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see that in the little things he does in the pod race, which was kind of cool, and I'm kind of sad they cut those out because it kind of reinforced the idea that,
it would have been a 3-hour movie. Would have been a 3-hour movie.
No, it was only a minute, not even a minute, maybe a few second cuts here and there within the race. I mean, I guess they added up in the end, but it was kind of weird. I'm like, why did you cut this out?
I guess because it all added up, and you cut things because you want them to flow better. You want them to flow better, and they considered that a better flow.
The cuts kind of made it flow worse. Because I've seen it with the cuts, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. This scene actually makes more sense with, this piece still in it. Because you see Anakin passing people so often, and it's like, wait, wasn't he behind everybody 5 seconds ago? Because he started late in the race.
So it wasn't me. I thought the pod race felt weird, but it wasn't me.
Yes, it is. It is weird with those little pieces that added up that they took out. It feels very weird.
Okay.
But maybe that's what made it better for me when I saw it that way, because it feels like a better race,
Yeah. So we're gonna end it right now.
Okay.
And I just letting everyone know. And we thank you all for listening in. So say goodnight, Tristan.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.